Now we're going to do some problems in the Chapter 2, Section 5, or 2.5. This chapter is, this section is on linear functions. Linear functions basically take the form of y equal mx plus b. This is a linear function, power 1. Okay, so the first part, like problem number 10, section 2.5, problem number 10. You're given the following function, 2x plus square root of x minus 4 equal to, I'm sorry, that's not the square root of x, that's the square root of y equal to 0. And the problem asks you whether this is a linear function. Well, this is not a linear function because of this term here. This is y to the 1/2 power. In other words, if you look at this, you would write it, you can write it as a square root of y equal to 4 minus 2x, and then if you square everything on both sides, you would have y equal to 16 minus 16x plus 4x squared. So you can see this is not a linear function, this is actually a quadratic function. Let's do another problem, basically an application problem, same section 2.5, number 12. Number 12, it says a manufacturer has a monthly fixed cost of $100,000 and a production cost of $14 for each unit produced. The product sells for $20 per unit, and you are asked to find like cost function, revenue function, profit function, and how much the profit would be at different level of production. So let's write down the information we have first. Number 12. We have fixed cost, like FC, equal to 100,000, and you have cost per unit. Basically, this is probably variable cost per unit equal to $14, and you have a price equal to $20 per unit. First, you are asked to find the cost function. Cost function has two components. One is fixed cost and the other one is variable cost. In this case, cost, again we use C, function of x, is equal to fixed cost, which is $100,000, plus variable cost, which is $14 per unit, times the number of units, which is x, so it would be 14x. This is A, which is cost function. That's your cost function. Then it says, what is the revenue function? Revenue is equal to price times multiplied by quantity. So revenue, we're going to show it as R, function of X, is equal to price, which is $20, times X. That's 20X then. This is B, revenue function. What is the profit function? Profit is revenue minus cost. If I want to show profit as a P of X, would be R of X minus C of X in the function form. Well, we already have the revenue function here, the cost function here. So we plug it in, and profit would be 20X minus the cost, which was $100,000 plus 14X. So profit would be equal to 20X minus 100,000 minus 14X. Therefore, equal to 6X minus 100,000. This is C, profit function. D says compute the profit or loss corresponding to production level of 12,000 and 20,000. So what here they are telling you is if X is equal to 12,000, how much is the profit? All you have to do is to evaluate this function at 12,000. In other words, find P of 12,000. Oops, 12,000. So that would be equal to 6 times 12,000 minus 100,000. So P of 12,000 is equal to 72,000. 72,000 minus 100,000. So P of 12,000 would be equal to minus 28,000. So that's a loss. Now you calculate it. When X is equal to 20,000. So evaluate the profit function at 20,000. So you say P of 20,000 is equal to 6 times 20,000 minus 100,000. P of 20,000 equal to 120,000 minus 100,000. Therefore, P of 20,000 be equal to $20,000. Now, this is a profit of, profit of 20,000. Okay, let's do another kind of problem. Problem number 20. Structure this bunch of problems, say the point intersection of each pair of straight line. Intersection of straight line. So number 20, that's section 2.5. One line is y equal to 2/3 x minus 4. The other one is x plus 3y plus 3 equal to 0. These are two lines you want to find the intersection. This is kind of saying that you want to solve these two equations simultaneously. So what you're going to do is, from the first equation, y is given as this. If for y in the second equation you plug this in, then you would only have a function with variable x, and you can solve for x, and you plug it back in the first equation and get y. So the second equation would become x plus 3 in place of y. You have 2/3 x minus 4, and then plus 3 equal to 0. So x plus 2x minus 12 plus 3 equal to 0. That is 3x minus 9 equal to 0. That is 3x equal to 9. Therefore, x is equal to 3. That's the h-coordinate of the intersection of these two lines. To find the y-coordinate, I just plug in for x in this first equation and find y. So y would be equal to 2/3 times 3 minus 4. 2/3 times 3 is 2. 2 minus 4. Therefore, y is equal to minus 2. This is the h-coordinate. This is y-coordinate. H equal 3, y equal to 2. That's the intersection of those two lines. Problem number 42 in section 2.5 is a break-even analysis problem. It says a division of Carter Enterprises produces personal income tax diaries. Each diary sells for $8. The monthly fixed costs incurred by the division are $25,000, and the variable cost of producing each diary is $3. Find the break-even point for the division. One more time to remind you, break-even is when cost is equal to revenue. So here is the information we have. Right, number 42. First, we know the price they are selling for $8. That's number one. We know that cost is fixed cost, which is $25,000, plus variable cost, which is $3 per unit. So 3 times x. This is the cost function. The revenue function, R of x, is equal to price times quantity. So in this case, it would be a price which is $8 and quantity which is shown with x. So it would be 8x. These are the two functions we have. You can calculate the break-even point by setting cost equal to revenue, or you can calculate the profit and set profit equal to 0. They mean the same thing. Let's do it that way. Let's find the profit function. P of x, profit, is equal to revenue minus cost. Therefore, profit equal to. The revenue function is given. It is 8x. Minus cost is minus 25,000 plus 3x. Therefore, profit as a function of x is equal to 8x minus 25,000 minus 3x. P of x, profit, therefore, is equal to 5x minus 25,000. This is, again, this is the profit function. When we are talking about break even, is when profit is equal to 0. So what we have to do is set P of x, which is 5x minus 25,000, set this equal to 0. Therefore, that means 5x is equal to 25,000, and x, therefore, is equal to 5,000 units. This is the break-even point. That means if the company produces 5,000 units, their profit would be equal to 0, or they would break even. This is A. Then part B says, what should be the level of sales in order for the division to realize a 15% profit over the cost of making the diaries? 15% profit over the cost. So in other words, you're saying profit is equal to 15% of the cost, which means P of x is equal to 0.15 times C of x. Now, if we plug in for profit here, the profit function we have, and for cost function here, one we already found, again, here is the profit function, and here is the cost function. Then we can solve for x. So profit was 25,000, let me clean this. 5x minus 25,000, that's profit. This should be equal to 15% of the cost. 0.15 times the cost is 25,000, which is the fixed cost, plus 3x. There's only variable x. You can solve for 5x minus 25,000 equal to 0.15 times 25,000. That is 25,000, 2,500 750, that is 3750 plus 0.15 times 3 is 0.45x. You take h to one side, so you would have 5h minus 0.45x equal to, take 25,000 to the right-hand side, is 25,000 plus 3750. So here would be 4.55x equal to 28,750. Divide both sides by the coefficient of x, which is divide both sides by 4.55. 4.55 and 4.55 cancel on the left-hand side. X would be 28,000 divided by 750 would be approximately 6,319. A little bit less than that, but 6,003. So if the company produces and sells 6,319, their profit would be equal to 15% of their cost.